It's well known that Russia has long been a place where nobody cares about human rights. Only people watching Russian TV every day of their own free will can argue about it. Television shows them things in a totally different way. So, when something like the autonomous Russian internet comes up, they say, way to go. It will teach them to go to the American websites. And should you mention the Center for Combating Extremism, they wouldn't wave their fists at those terrorists who get what they deserve. It's no secret that Russian television is a perfect propaganda machine. Joseph Goebbels would give a standing ovation for its precision.
Инфа без купюр, без лишней лести. Это просто киселек, это просто виски.
To get an idea of how the Russian Federation government suppresses society, read the federal laws. It will all become clear. Let's begin with the extremists, or in other words, undesirable people and organizations. The Center for Combating Extremism within the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Russia, or CENT-E, was established in 2008. And as the name suggests, its primary goal is to combat extremism. It would be a worthy goal to pursue if the Russian government didn't mistake the extremism for the freedom of opinion and expression. Every year, hundreds of people are sent to prison for extremism in Russia. For what? For sharing pictures that mock the public officials on the web, resharing them on social media, oppositional activities, and mass meetings. And after Russia had annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, there were even more things labeled as extremism. At that time, the Crimean people were massively put into prison for separatism. So Russia illegally invaded the Ukrainian territory and told people living there they were Russians. Those who disagreed and kept saying they were Ukrainians, no matter what, were declared extremists and imprisoned. Isn't it brilliant? The Kremlin used the same scheme to jail Vladimir Balukh, Nikolay, Semena, Aleksandr Kolchenko, Oleg, Sentsov, and many Crimean Tatars of the Hizb ut-Tahrir. The situation with the freedom of religion in Russia is terrible as well. The government only affords privileges to the Russian Orthodox Church, and especially to Patriarch Kirill, whose complete loyalty to the regime is lavishly rewarded. They make attempts to destroy everyone else. For example, in 2017, Russia labeled an international religious organization of Jehovah's Witnesses as an extremist one, which basically meant taking away people's right to freedom of religion.
Нас в 21 веке приближает нас к временам инквизиции.
There is even a criminal Russian law that prosecutes for insulting religious beliefs and feelings. But you probably understand whose beliefs it actually protests, don't you?
Возник огромный морально-нравственный вакуум, который мог быть заполнен только одним – возвратом к настоящим, к истинным ценностям. В самые критические моменты нашей истории наш народ оборачивался к своим корням, к нравственным основам, к религиозным ценностям.
Experience shows that this law applies exclusively to the benefit of the Russian Orthodox Church members. Anyone who dares to make even a slightly mocking remark against their religion can go to prison. A case that caused the biggest stir was the trial of pussy rights. To avoid insulting the spiritual values of the Orthodox Christians, Russia actively oppresses sexual minorities. In 2013, the State Duma passed a law banning the propaganda of no traditional sexual relations among minors. The UN committee criticized it for being discriminatory and, in fact, prosecutes all the members of LGBT community who speak openly of their orientation.
А у них один секс на уме. Извращенный причем.
Родина, свобода,
Путин. Родина, свобода, Putin.
The internet is the main refuge of freedom in Russia, but you'd better not share any content that can hurt the Russian Orthodox Church's feelings. Well, at least, no one can forbid people to use it as a source of truthful information, or can they? Russian internet media is under a lot of pressure. The law on making its fully autonomous stripped up a way of protest across the country. This document is a de jure protection of the Russian internet users from foreign attacks, while the Kremlin de facto places the internet having too much freedom under Roskomnadzor's control. it legislatively deprives people of an unbiased source of information and makes Russian TV their only option. This way, they can only access new media that are loyal to the government. Here is another Russian law on mass surveillance of internet users, which has been effective since 2013. It allows the security officials to invade one's privacy, get access to emails, browser history records, and absolutely anything a person has done on the internet. It only applies if the person poses a threat to Russia's information security. But we all know that every thoughtful person is a threat in the eyes of the Russian government. The human rights activists believe it's used a means of pressure on the dissent and opposition-minded citizens. To let the security officials eavesdrop on phone conversation as well, Russia came up with the Yarovaya law. It requires that mobile operators store recordings of all the phone's conversations and text messages for 6 months. By the way, the Internet blacklist law can also be added. Who can get blacklisted? Anyone. For example, those who work in an undesirable organization. No kidding. Russia can legally apply this label. The Open Russia Movement, the European Platform for Democratic Elections, the Open Society Institute, the Institute of Modern Russia, and other organizations have already been listed as undesirable. There is another similar law, a law on foreign agents, passed in 2012. It applies to the non-governmental agencies that receive foreign donations and engage in political activity. However, human rights advocacy and environmental organizations turn out to be the ones most affected by this law. Those who question the observance of human rights in Russia or take care of the country's ecology are linked to specialists and traitors. This list includes multiple mass media such as Voice of America and Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty. In order to fully legalize their laws or raise the lawlessness, Russia passed on more law, a cherry on a discrimination cake. This law cancels the priority of international law. What does it mean? Let's imagine you got offended by extremism law or got into jail as a political criminal. So you turn to the European Court of Human Rights that has admitted the blame is on the state for imprisoning you without any legal basis. That the Russian state would refer to this law as if saying, we don't care about the international court rulings. We have our own courts, own laws, and own life. It has no place for human rights.